All right, welcome to the Career Nuggets podcast channel hosted by Esmerandani. The show is all about career lessons from accomplished individuals, so listeners can avoid making the same mistakes in their career and learn from the best. Hari ini kita kedatangan Bimo dari Cove, sebuah flexible living and home rentals company that leverages tech and design.
Cool, thank you AJ. So, to begin with, I think my whole career, I've been very like a startup warrior since the day one, gitu ya. Jadi throughout my career, mostly itu di startup. I've been in different phases of the startup, also dari early stage, growth, mature, gitu kan. At this stage, in the Cove is actually we're in a very growth stage. Gitu. Nah. That's in terms of I think my background. Then I started back in the day in Zalora. I think it was around 2013, 2014, somewhere there. Yeah, it's been a long time. So then after that, I spent quite some time in Zalora. Then I moved to had a stint also in Moladin. It's a used car company, and then finally landed in Cove. In terms of roles, I'm a bit, I would say a bit different. Put it that way. Different as in my uni background itu actually logistic. Sorry, put it a bit backwards, right? So I started with diploma in public relations, then followed through to bachelor juga di public relations.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. then I took master. Then my master is logistic and supply chain. So I'm a bit different, right, from the beginning. Then career wise is a bit even weirder. So I started in operations, starting one of the team yang kita bilang help to deliver or to start marketplace in Indonesia. Then after that, I moved to Singapore, taking a regional role as well. Still the same, it's still marketplace operations. Then I moved to rail logistics. Still in Singapore. Then I think it was 2017. My wife called and then like, bro, you gotta go home. Your choice. Then I moved back home, right? And then I moved back, taking the role called still in operations, called like this kind of like a PMO function or project management office. Nah, di sini project management office, I think. A lot of stuff getting added, terus dari cross different path, kayak ada payments, ada cross borders, the whole setups basically. Nah, after that, I moved to marketing, right? So after Ajing left, I took marketing, right, for Indonesia. Then before I moved in Zalora, I was in marketplace and in commercial, the commercial side of the marketplace. Nah, then I moved to other company, running basically the strategy. Nah, di yang sekarang, I'm actually managing commercial and strategy. So it's more like everything is not supply and not demand. It's kind of given towards nih Bimo.
Oke, Bim, kalau misalnya bisa di-recap, Bim, kan kan lumayan bervariasi ya background-nya, dari mulai bachelornya kan PR, terus tiba-tiba masternya ambil logistik and supply chain, terus akhirnya masuk operations, masih masuk akal nih ya kan, masih sejalan gitu. Terus habis itu pindah ke marketing, terus sekarang ada di commercial, right? Nah, dari semua itu, what can you say yang you enjoy, not enjoy ya, tapi ya you think that ini gue banget, itu yang mana ya, Bim?
So, this is interesting ya, gitu ya. Buat gue, I think in term of kayak choices apa yang banget gue, I think it's not that, but it's just more kayak kalau lo tanya gue apa sih yang sebenarnya passion gue gitu ya, it's very growing company to be honest. It's like so regardless where am I, like marketing, commercials, operations, if the company is in growing stage, a lot of stuff, ya sometimes kayak easier said than done gitu kan, kayak tembak sana tembak sini, a lot of ambiguity, a lot of gray areas, that less structure. That's where my passion is, I would say that way.
I see. I think itu juga salah satu yang bisa membedakan lo sama banyak orang lainnya ya, Bim. Karena I know there's a lot of people, mereka nggak terlalu suka kalau yang terlalu ambigu gitu ya, suasana kerja yang terlalu ambigu, yang nggak ketebak gitu kan. Karena kebanyakan orang lebih memilih untuk sesuatu yang lebih structure. Tapi kan that's the beauty of startup juga ya, nggak bisa ketebak gitu kan. Lo tumble sana sini, learning as you go gitu kan. Pura-pura tahu gitu kan, fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it, I think that's sum up everything.
Okay, so that you're a builder gitu ya. Kalau misalnya kita bisa recap in one word, sebenarnya you love building things gitu ya.
Yes, that's actually a good word.
You're a builder, yeah, that's great. Oke, terus kayak untuk yang Cove sekarang gitu ya, di company yang sekarang, boleh ceritain sedikit nggak sih mungkin untuk teman-teman yang kurang familiar gitu ya dengan apa yang Cove offers gitu, walaupun tadi udah dibilang gitu kan kalau itu adalah flexible living and home rentals company, tapi sebenarnya apa sih yang jadi kekuatannya Cove menurut lo, dan marketnya tuh sekarang lagi kayak gimana ya? Mungkin sedikit konteks aja biar orang familiar.
Nah, jadi gini, Cove, I think as a company, sama bit gitu ya. We started in Singapore. I think itu sekitar tahun 2018. So started at Singapore, terus enter Indonesia in the middle of COVID itu 2020. Jadi kita enter market Indonesia. Nah, key, if we wanna put it like kayak explanations in one simple words or one simple sentence, Cove itu lebih kepada kayak prop tech for flexible living. Nah, property tech ini kita di supported a lot with the Heavy app gitu kan. Sorry, ada Heavy app, ada tech support gitu. Nah, yang kedua, in term of flexibility value proposition kita sebenarnya flexible living. Flexible in term of first itu type of building, kita run dari tipikal ada apartemen, guest houses, real hotels, terus kemudian we're going there but probably villa as well kan. Nah, kemudian in term of flexible stay as well, jadi ada yang kita ada weekly, ada daily, ada weekly, dan even yang normal kayak long stay ya. Nah, tapi memang terminologi long stay ini market to market atau country to country beda. Kalau di Indonesia kita monthly, kita bilang long stay, tapi di Singapura itu minimum 3 bulan. Nah, key proposition kita itu sebenarnya inspirational but affordable, gitu kan. Inspirational apa? As in term of brands, in term of branding, in term of design, in term of property yang kita grow. Nah, itu kita very curated, dan memang kita put a lot of effort in terms of design, for example, right, and customer experience. Nah, tapi in a way kita juga try to put kayak in terms of pricing point itu lebih coverable. Karena kalau kita tanya siapa sih sebenarnya market kita, gitu kan? Cove ini sebenarnya marketnya definitely yang profesional, Gen Z, millennials during that age gitu ya. Mungkin kayak kita bilang kayak core audience kita itu a bit similar to this podcast target juga gitu ya, roughly between 21, kalau kita di 21 sampai 35 itu core kita. Jadi memang yang kita aim yang profesional, manager level, not manager, I mean like professional working up to manager level.
I see. Okay. Terus kalau misalnya kan from what I understand ya, ini correct me if I'm wrong. What I understand dari kan gue sempat interaksi juga lah sama you punya platform lah ya.
Of course.
Pasti yang kelihatan tuh pertama mungkin kayak pembedanya dari marketplace lain di luar sana kan banyak kan marketplace yang juga nyediain properti gitu ya.
Yes.
It's, you also ini ya kasih kayak ada nyawanya tuh Cove banget gitu. Maksudnya that's what you hold with branding kan. Karena lu juga mikirin desainnya supaya dia tetap ada temanya. Gak cuma kayak listing aja di platform tapi you also get involved in the design gitu kan. Termasuk ke experience-nya si customer juga ya.
Correct.
I see. Oke. Untuk teman-teman yang mungkin sekarang dengar dan belum tahu, lo kalau misalnya di Cove itu kan sekarang di commercial. Judulnya apa sih, Bim?
Country Director of Commercial and Strategy.
Oke, Country Director of Commercial and Strategy. Nah, kira-kira kalau misalnya ada teman-teman yang juga tertarik gitu ya, pengen masuk ke Cove misalnya, I don't know gitu, kali aja ada yang tertarik. Mau masuk ke commercial and strategy, apa yang harus mereka tahu duluan sih, Bim?
In term of gini, ketika ada misalnya nih ada teman-teman di sini ya gitu kan podcast mau join nih ke Cove dan especially mungkin commercial strategy. One thing yang first yang satu, ask yourself whether early stage of startup is for you. Itu satu, gitu kan? As in apa? Karena begini, kayak Ajeng tadi mention juga kan, kalau tipikalnya is very startup itu banyak yang very different sama the other industry mungkin ya. Jadi first yakinkan diri kalau this is early stage startup itu memang something yang you want to join, kan? Nah, but apart from that is actually a lot of fun things happening gitu loh, as in kayak we're growing very significant gitu kan, market juga relatively growing regardless the current situations gitu ya. Nah, terus yang kemudian yang kedua adalah lebih regardless di whatever functions di Cove itu, yang penting yang satu adalah kayak kita always give 110% gitu kan. Jadi kayak in term of culture kita itu sangat kita bilang kayak very performance driven. Kenapa kita very performance driven? Jadi kayak gini, Cove itu kan kalau kita bilang nyawanya sebenarnya di properti ya. Jadi kita in term of setup is definitely work from anywhere gitu kan. Di kantor itu memang kita set up as in kayak for meetings, interaksi, collaborations, meeting sama eksternal gitu kan. Nah, jadi kita the whole team, especially the ground team itu kan dia akan muter ke lapangan. Nah, jadi we can expect everything itu berdasarkan performance days, independent, learning by doing. I think that's the one that sum it up sih.
Oke. Kalau misalnya commercial for the people who don't know, misalnya teman-teman yang belum tahu gitu, commercial tuh sebenarnya ngapain sih? What does it entail?
Yes, nah commercial in this in Cove ya, commercial kita itu lebih kepada satu account management. Account management ini apa sih? Account management as in the overall flow tuh kayak gini. For example, kita punya functions yang kita di Cove ini kita punya 3 big functions kan. Yang pertama supply, yang 3 ini commercial and operations, ya, last one dan satu lagi demand atau growth atau sales dan marketing lah. Secara function supply ini dia akan mengakuisisi properti, regardless type of propertinya, regardless type of contractnya, ini supply. Gitu kan, ini BD team, real estate teams, the one who acquiring properties, the one that we can sell. Gitu kan. Nah, habis itu di market sama sales team, sales and demand teams yang develop sales, marketing untuk raise untuk increase traffic dan tenants. Nah, after property life, nah ini di manage sama kita bilangnya commercial team, commercial or operations team. Nah, ini yang memanage satu, let's say performance of property gitu kan, dealing with the landlord, let's say apa yang bisa kita tweak, finding other revenue stream. Nah ini dari segi account management gitu. Nah within commercial itself itu juga sebenarnya operations under commercial. Nah ini operations as in day to day, managing net promoter score, ensuring tenant tidak satisfied gitu kan. Housekeeping management, nah ini blanket towards commercial strategy.
I see. Jadi kalau misalnya pakai analogi e-commerce, lo kayak seller management lah ya?
Yes, exactly.
Relationship dengan sellernya kayak gimana, performance sellernya kayak gimana cara mereka punya SKU gitu ya?
Betul. Exactly.
Oke, terus kalau misalnya kita masuk ke karir lo ya, Bim. Dari sekian tahun gitu kan karir lo, dan itu selalu di startup, because you're a builder at heart gitu ya. What do you learn in your career lah gitu? Mungkin ada 3 takeaways atau 3 highlights yang bisa diceritain ke teman-teman?
For sure. Ini I think that's very good ini sih, good topic or points to be discussed. I think one definitely. What I learned, ini mungkin bagus juga buat yang lain. Ya kayak hopefully it's a good input gitu. Yang buat gue yang pertama adalah execution. Why? Gini, sometimes kita tuh suka lupa gitu. Apalagi kan we all love all the fancy decks, all the fancy Excels and numbers, right? Put the numbers, make this charts, okay, this is my projection, this is that. It's always that across type of business gitu kan. Gue gak ngomong cuma let's say for example di Cove atau di other companies, dimanapun, we all love that gitu kan. Kalau kita dikasih lihat, nih ada projection ini, Excelnya udah kayak all the formulas in like this, fancy decks, cantik gitu kan. But that's just, I think buat gue is just 20% of the effort. Kenapa? The key things happens itu ketika lo melakukan executions. Nah, ketika executions ini attention to details, line by line, dan ini udah di luar Excel, udah di luar deck, udah di luar PowerPoint. It's real executions. For example, one day kita punya let's say kita run a project gitu ya. All the things sudah set up, everything udah according to to plan. Ini kita akan ubah begini. Kalau kita pencet yang gini, ekspektasi kita let's say revenue gain akan seperti ini. Ini kalau ada other thing. Tapi ketika kita lakuin itu, kita lupa banyak faktor X yang mungkin nggak kita cover. For example, gitu kan, satu external behavior kayak customer feedback seperti apa, mungkin for example seberapa sensitif customer terhadap price increase misalnya, and those stuff. Nah itu harus very heavy on execution gitu. Nah terutama apalagi yang part yang kadang even kalau itu kita masih ngomong eksternal ya, kadang kita bilang kayak it's very internal kita miss. Yang sangat costly itu apa sih sebenarnya? Miscommunication. Gitu kan, makanya ada yang bilang kayak assumption, make an of you and me, for example. Itu karena kita harus detail and execution. I think that's the one. Nah, second ini I learned it. I learned it over time. Yang ini sebenarnya adalah if you're young, typically like your early stage of career, lu pengen growth in term of career, in term of regardless itu you do it in company or you do it like doing business gitu ya. I think one definitely. First, find role model. Second, find a mentor. Ini trust me, ini mahal banget. I learned it gitu kan. Kenapa? Gini, dan find role model itu bukan find role model terus Cristiano Ronaldo, oke, ini. No, it's not that kind of role model gitu. Maksud gue role model yang as much as possible it's close to you, ya, close as in can be your boss, can be your parents, or your brother, or someone gitu kan, yang deket sama lo. Kenapa? Ketika lo deket, lo interaksi tiap hari, you learn stuff, gitu kan. Lo tahu itu dari stage, dari role model ya. Nah, ketika second step itu adalah move si role model ini jadi mentor lo, gitu kan. Nah, tapi move si orang role model ini jadi mentor lo ini, typically nggak kayak gue nembak cewek ini, lo mau jadi mentor gue nggak? Gitu. Kalau buat gue ya, gitu kan, probably kan ini, lo mau jadi cewek gue nggak? No, gitu kan. Tapi it's actually grows over time aja, gitu. Kayak oke, lo gue mentorin, lo ini. Kenapa? It's very rather than lo figure out yourself in your career, gitu kan. Kadang ada step yang mereka ada orang yang udah lebih paham dan lebih ahli because they've been doing it, gitu kan. Nah, instead of you learn it by yourself, it's very good lo dapet support dari yang lain, gitu. Nah, ini juga I think this setup for me is a bit slightly personal as well. Jadi gini, I lost my dad when I was 6. I was 6 years old, gitu kan. He passed away. So for me it was a bit more, and kayak gue tuh always kayak try to find kind of like a father figure lah, kind of things, gitu kan. In across my whole kayak journey, kan, mulai dari let's say I was in sport, gitu kan. Terus even in career, gitu. Jadi gue kalau ada yang nah, dengan kemudian karena gue nggak bisa mendapatkan itu di let's say di keluarga or other gitu, gue biasanya lari kan memang ke either ke kayak gue bilang sports or gue ke karir kantor, gitu kan. Nah, jadi memang biasanya kalau gue put itu gue mencoba untuk kalau dia begini, dia bilangnya apa yang dilakuin, atau what's the setup, apa next step-nya, bagaimana analisisnya, or the whole stuff, even how they deal with team itu, I think is very ini sih, it's very how to say ya, very valuable, boleh tahu gitu. Dan kadang-kadang nggak semua orang get the privilege to have a good mentor. Nah, itu jadi kayak if you have a chance find a mentor, it's very good for your career. Okay, last one, be human. Kenapa gue bilang be human? Be human nih asing, bukan kayak lo be human lo harus baik, harus nice. No. Lebih kepada gini, you gotta understand in your career, dibalik the whole company, dibalik whole structure, dibalik every business deal, itu lo dealing with person, gitu kan. Nah, itu lo belajar. Kalau lo grasp konsep ini, gitu, lo akan understand, like for example, much easier for negotiation, much easier to move people if for a project management, gitu. Nah, jadi konsep be human ini less more kayak jadi orang baik, tapi lebih kayak understand in all business deals, in all processes, itu sebenarnya ada orang yang ngelakuin lo, gitu. Dan you gotta find a way to get that people in terms of attentions or how you move people, gitu sih.
Yeah, nice. I think that's really true, and I like the angle karena nggak banyak yang ngebahas tentang itu ya, be human. Dan I think be human juga bisa diartikan dengan kayak kalau misalnya kita kerja di lingkungan yang fast pace and fast growing, gitu ya. Kadang-kadang kita juga menuntut terlalu tinggi sama kita, seolah-olah kita ini robot yang tidak akan lelah, gitu ya.
Betul.
Seolah-olah kita robot yang tidak akan making mistakes, gitu. Jadi
betul.
Be human to yourself, right? Gitu. Kayak taking care of yourself, knowing when to take a break, knowing knowing when to eat, knowing when to sleep gitu kan. Karena
sure.
After all kita juga manusia ya. Kalau misalnya kita terlalu perfeksionis gitu nggak bisa juga. Terus I really like it sih, kayak kita be human juga berarti sama lah ya, karena kan semua bisnis itu intinya kita memberikan offer atau service ke customer ya, ke end user gitu kan. Dan untuk bisa memahami apa yang sebenarnya end user ini inginkan gitu kan, kita juga harus jadi manusia gitu, karena they're not gonna pick us just because of the price, but there are like more reasons gitu yang akhirnya menggerakkan seseorang untuk melakukan keputusan purchase gitu kan sebenarnya.
Exactly. Agree.
Nah, sekarang kalau misalnya kita ngomongin kesalahan nih Bim. What was your biggest mistake ya yang pernah dilakukan gitu? Terus how did it change how you operate since?
So gini, as I built my career gitu kan, I'm actually gimana ya, kayak set up as generalist gitu kan. Jadi kayak in term of career path, like typically you have to kayak two ways or two routes lah gitu kan. Typical satu lo jadi specialist as in kayak you're very detailed on in term of career, in term of roles and understanding in term of kayak misalnya kayak jadi like dari finance, bisa dari finance, dari accounting naik ke finance manager, terus jadi mungkin FP&A gitu-gituan, terus CFO gitu kan, sama gitu kayak operation. You start as mungkin logistics specialist, you grow into logistic manager, and then go on, and then you go to operation director lah misalnya kan. Nah, I'm more on generalist, jadi kayak bit there, bit di sini gitu kan. Nah, the good side of being generalist is typically you have understanding in a lot of stuff, ya. Jadi kayak helicopter view, but best case probably 50% understanding in terms of details. Best case gitu kan, that's generalist. Nah, kalau dibalik gitu ya, spesialis they know a lot of like finance. Oh, lo harus kayak gini. Nah, taxnya tuh begini, lo nggak bisa begini, lo harus begini. But they know it 110%. Kayak ditanya yang lain kayak, tapi gimana gue deal sama salesnya kalau gini? Gue nggak tahu, itu kan yang penting gue finance-nya beres misalnya gitu ya. Tapi I mean that makes sense, and then like, everyone's doing their roles and doing their functions, right? The downside of being generalist adalah satu itu in terms of detail, right? Karena kita terbiasa untuk oversee stuff, like maximum you understand probably 50%, the rest is like you leave to the people who actually knows the details kan. Nah, back then we had a normal kayak commercial stuff gitu kan, and then we just hired, tapi it was in the middle of COVID gitu kan, so everyone is actually stay home, coordination susah, terus kemudian day to day operations kita udah benar-benar kayak oke lah, kita everyone is based on the monitor, nggak ketemu gitu kan. Nah, we had it's kind of an issue in terms of campaign or campaign stuff gitu. Nah, this campaign actually ada a bit technical setup glitch gitu ya, and then cost quite big in terms of numbers gitu. Nah, wasn't me doing things, but it's actually me who actually managing the whole function gitu kan. Nah, it's actually because someone didn't put or didn't follow SOP as supposed to be lah gitu kan. Nah, jadi it was actually take up massive of cost buat kita. Nah, di situ yang one thing yang hit me the most is the fact that the trigger or the issue started actually very small, kan? Tapi karena kita nggak ngelihat, karena kita tidak detail. Personally, me, I wasn't very detailed, gitu kan? It's kind of like oversee, gitu kan? Jadi oversee sehari, 2 hari, 3 hari, 4 hari, dan suddenly piling up dan baru kelihatan. Dan issue always kelihatan kalau gede, kalau kecil kan nggak kelihatan ya. Dan that's always an issue. Nah, after that is very it changed how I operate ever since. Yeah. Now to put that things actually put me into kayak sekarang is very kayak how to say it, yeah, it's a bit now gue operate a bit out of like 50% for everything. I push it down kayak even I spend more time kayak line by line, like checking this, even to the point kayak someone send me an for example saya Google Sheet or Excel gitu ya, gue masih kayak gue cek formulanya satu-satu. I think that's not, of course, bukan kayak undermining, but it's just for my safe assurance. Nah ini, jadi lesson learn-nya buat gue is always beware, because every roles or every functions and then every setup has their own positive and negative, right? Gitu kan. Kalau jadi generalist, the positive thing is like in most cases you ask me a lot anything in the whole company or in industry, gue pasti bisa jawab at least kayak 50%. Gitu kan? Ya, even let's say for e-commerce, lu tanya gue kayak gimana marketing, gimana ops, gimana commercial, how tech setup, I can answer for like 50% gitu kan. If you bring me to kind of meeting, gue pasti bisa gitu kan. But then other things yang gue belajar after that incident is that how you need to put extra regardless lo how senior are you, how high, I mean like how senior are you, how big is your team, right? At the end of the day, if it's your team, that's also your responsibility gitu kan. Nah jadi put me in perspective and then change how I need to put more attention to details then.
I see. Okay, that's an interesting story sih. Kayak just because you're a generalist, it doesn't justify kalau misalnya kita kayak jadinya terlalu loose juga ya sama supervising gitu. Oh, toh kita generalis gitu, kita punya banyak konteks segala macam, jadi lebih loose gitu ya mungkin pengawasannya. Tapi how as a leader gitu ya, how do you think you can make this more sustainable for you and your team?
Yes, it's a good question, right? This is the funny things yang I learned as well. Let's say you have a team, right? Kayak typical like ya, lo punya or your line manager lah, atau yang report directly. Never never hire exactly semuanya itu. Let's say lo punya tim 6-6-nya is actually copycat of you. Never do that. That's first thing. Jadi lo harus, it's very good to have like all the mix of people. Okay. Dan yang kedua adalah know your weakness. Yeah. For me, let's say for example more on detail side, then you build a team that actually can back you up. Gitu. Jadi in term of being a leader, it's always a team performance, right? Jadi it's not important kayak you're gonna be the smartest people in team. No, it's not. That's not the function of a leader, gitu kan. Leader itu adalah not giving direction, even giving vision, right? What's the goal? Put kind of like an imaginary route how we gonna get there, and then the implementation is actually how we how we can actually support the team gitu. Nah, other things kalau if you have a different type of peoples in the team, it's actually very good in term of kayak dynamics. Dynamics team I think kayak for me, gue akan menjadi orang yang kayak very openly communicate gitu kan, sangat extro, throwing out ideas gitu kan. Kita we should do this, I think we can do this gitu kan. But then it is very good to have other team members actually can validate gitu kan. Bentar, kayaknya mesti gini-gini deh, kayaknya harus ada gini. Dan this whole interactions, the whole dynamic is actually the one takes you to the next level gitu kan. Nggak lo yang selalu kayak as a leader you carry the whole team. It's actually you can, but it's gonna be very tiring for you. Satu, yang kedua, at some point lo akan burn out kan. Jadi if you wanna go far, go together. If you're gonna go far, go alone.
Yeah. That's so true. I think memang kalau sebagai leader, jadi kita butuh diversity juga ya. Sebenarnya diversity is our strength, right? Because we're building on top of each other's perspectives juga gitu. Pada akhirnya lebih komprehensif ya decision makingnya.
Exactly.
Nice. Okay. Alright, so terakhir nih Bim, sebelum kita wrap up the session, if you can leave a wisdom nugget to our listener, what would that be?
Satu, I think this is only one line, right? Growth is never linear. Satu, in term of career, in term of company, in term of every stage of evolving things gitu ya. Growth is never linear. Jadi kadang we think kayak kita mundur nih gitu kan, but it's actually lo mundur selangkah untuk maju untuk let's say 5 langkah atau 10 langkah kan. Dan trajectory nggak ada yang begini, sales chart or everything is always kayak ada pada gininya kan, stop apa, that's part of the thing gitu kan. Nah, untuk menyikapi itu, satu lagi yang paling penting sebenarnya adalah growth mindset. Growth mindset itu the one that for me personally keeping me up until at this point. Kenapa? Kayak everyone terus misalnya kayak, nih lu kerjain ini, bisa nggak? Oke, nggak bisa deh. Kayak, why not? Let's try. Why not? Let's try. Gitu kan? But then you learn. Even menurut for my point of view gitu ya, from my point of view, I don't think there is even kayak things called stop growing gitu. I think kita akan terus keep growing regardless age, regardless stage of career gitu kan, stage of life. Karena ketika kita put growth mindset, lo bisa switch career, lo bisa switch roles, lo bisa sometimes yang tadinya lo manage teams of 50-60 people gitu kan, tiba-tiba lo dibuat jadi spesialis gitu. Ketika lo punya growth mindset, is gonna progress you towards whatever things ahead of you lah, let's put it that way gitu.
I see. Oh, nice. I cannot agree more. I think it's very true that growth isn't linear. Karena memang kayak yang tadi lo bilang gitu, yang sesuatu langkah terlihat kita lagi mundur gitu. Padahal sebenarnya kemunduran satu langkah itu membawa kita ke 5 langkah ke depan gitu misalnya. Dan analoginya apa ya? Itu mengingatkan gue sama analogi anak panah gitu kan. Lo mesti ditarik dulu, baru lo melesat cepat gitu kan. Dan growth itu nggak linear juga sebenarnya membantu teman-teman kalau misalnya berpikir kayak, oh kenapa ya kok orang lain udah sampai sini, kok gue belum gitu. Padahal kan growth orang tuh beda-beda, journey orang beda-beda, prosesnya beda-beda, dan nggak harus kok growth kita sama orang lain gitu kan. Bisa jadi apa yang terjadi sekarang sebenarnya akan membawa kita lebih jauh lagi gitu kan dengan perjalanannya kita sendiri. Dan itu juga hopefully bisa memberikan resiliensi ya Bim, kalau kita sedang merasa membandingkan diri dengan orang lain atau
Betul.
kita sedang tidak sabar gitu kan, kok growth-nya tidak terlihat gitu.
But put it this way, ketika lo it's very human juga kan, kayak bukan envy ya, tapi kayak membanding-bandingkan, kayak dia udah begini, dia udah ini, temen gue udah begini. Trust me, kalau you have the growth mindset, you're doing what you're doing gitu kan, always doing kayak, gue dikasih ini, gue belajar, giving up 110%. I think it's about you versus the world aja gitu. Jadi nggak usah lihat ini, you'll get there. Just trust the process, follow the journey gitu. But you gotta have the growth mindset, karena otherwise kalau udah punya kayak fix, gue nggak bisa, gue biasanya kayak, gue mau orangnya kayak gini, nah itu itu udah. If you wanna grow, if you wanna go far, I think you gonna switch bit.
Iya, benar. Okay, then with that we can wrap up the session. Thank you so much, Bimo, for sharing with us today.
Thank you, Ajeng, for having me. Thank you semua.
Thank you, Bim. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.